Commander Tahoe Park stood at the viewport of the Earth vessel horizon, watching as the swirling blue-green planet of Lyria grew larger. After 15 years in Earth's interstellar defense force, he thought he had seen everything. He was wrong. "Commander, final approach in 10 minutes," his second officer announced. "The Lyriani delegation awaits your arrival." Tahoe nodded, straightening his formal uniform. This mission was different from his usual assignments. No combat, no rescue, just talk and smiles with aliens who had kept to themselves for centuries until now. The landing was smooth. When the ship's doors opened, Tahoe blinked against the strange purple light of Lyria. 6 tall figures waited on the landing platform. The Lyriani were humanoid, but their skin glowed with a soft inner light that shifted colors with their emotions. Their large eyes, without pupils, seemed to look through him rather than at him. "Welcome to Lyria," said the tallest one, his skin pulsing blue. "I am Elder Nyx. We are honored by Earth's delegation." Tahoe bowed slightly. "The honor is ours. Earth looks forward to friendship between our worlds." The welcome ceremony lasted hours. The Lyriani city was built of crystal and living plants that grew in impossible shapes. Tahoe and his small team were led to a great hall where important Lyriani waited to meet them. Food that changed color was served. Music that seemed to come from the walls themselves played. "You seem uncomfortable, Commander," said Elder Nyx. "Not at all," Tahoe lied. "Your world is beautiful, but very different from Earth. We understand. Change comes slowly to us. That is why we waited so long to reach out." As the night continued, Tahoe noticed a smaller Lyriani watching him from across the room. Her skin glowed a soft pink, unlike the blues and greens of the others. When their eyes met, she quickly looked away. Later, as Tahoe walked alone in a garden path, someone stepped from behind a crystal tree. "Commander Park." Her voice was musical, almost like singing. It was the pink-skinned Lyriani who had watched him earlier. "Yes?" he asked, suddenly alert. His hand moved slightly toward his hidden emergency beacon. "I am Era, daughter of Elder Saul." Her skin rippled with waves of color. "I must speak with you, alone." Tahoe looked around. They were already alone in the garden. "I'm listening." Instead of speaking, Era stepped closer. She reached out one slender hand and stopped just short of touching his forehead. "May I?" Tahoe hesitated. The briefing had mentioned Lyriani telepathic abilities, but not this. "Please," she whispered. "I cannot risk being overheard." He nodded once. Her fingertips gently touched his temples. Suddenly, words formed in his mind that weren't his own. "Asteriski need your help. My life is in danger. I cannot trust my own people." Tahoe stepped back, breaking the connection. "Why me? We just met." "Because you are human," she said simply. "Your minds are different, close to us in ways our own people's minds are not. My enemies cannot read you as they read other Lyriani." "What enemies?" Era's skin darkened to a deep purple. "Those who want to use my abilities for their own power. I was born with a rare gift, even among my kind. I can see paths of time that might be. Possible futures." Tahoe frowned. "If you can see the future, why do you need my help?" "Because the future is not fixed. I see many paths, but cannot always tell which will come to pass." She looked over her shoulder nervously. "There are those in our government who wish to control my gift, to use it to guide Lyria toward war, not peace. War with Earth." Tahoe asked sharply. "With anyone who stands in their way." "My father does not know. He believes in peace." A sound from nearby made Era stiffen. "I must go. They will notice I am missing." She pressed something small and cold into his hand. "If you wish to help me, use this to find me tomorrow." Then she was gone, slipping between the crystal trees like a ghost. Tahoe opened his hand. A small crystal, shaped like a teardrop, glowed softly in his palm. Back in his quarters, Tahoe paced. His mission was diplomatic, represent Earth, build ties with the Liriani. Getting involved in alien politics was definitely not in his orders. But if Era was telling the truth, and there were Liriani leaders planning for war, his communicator buzzed. "Commander, we've detected unusual energy readings from the Liriani Council building," his science officer reported. "Similar to weapons signatures we observed during our approach." Tai-Ho looked at the crystal in his hand. It pulsed now, as if alive. "Keep monitoring," he ordered, "and find out everything you can about someone named Era, daughter of Elder Saul." "Yes, sir." "Anything else?" Tai-Ho thought about Era's plea. He had seen fear in the shifting colors of her skin. Real fear. "Yes, I want additional security protocols for tomorrow. And keep the ship ready for immediate departure." "Sir, is there a problem with the mission?" Tai-Ho watched as the crystal's glow matched the rhythm of his heartbeat. "I'm not sure yet," he said, "but I think our simple diplomatic mission just got a lot more complicated." The crystal in Tai-Ho's hand pulsed brighter as he approached the small temple at the edge of the Liriani capital. The morning suns cast twin shadows behind him as he walked alone, having told his team he needed to explore the cultural sites. Not exactly a lie, but far from the whole truth. The temple was empty except for a single figure kneeling before a pool of luminous water. Era's skin glowed a soft amber in the morning light. She didn't turn when he entered, but he knew she sensed his presence. "You came," she said simply. "I'm still not sure why." Tai-Ho remained near the entrance. "My mission is to represent Earth. Getting involved in Liriani politics could compromise everything." Era finally turned to face him. "And if you don't help me, there may be no peace to build." She rose gracefully. "Did you check my story?" "As much as I could. Your father is indeed Elder Soul, member of the High Council. You disappeared from public view 3 cycles ago. Your years. No explanation given. They said I was studying in isolation." Her skin darkened. "In truth, I was being tested. When they discovered the extent of my abilities, everything changed." Tai-Ho crossed his arms. "Show me these abilities." Era hesitated, then approached him. "Give me your hand." When their fingers touched, images flooded Tai-Ho's mind. He saw himself in a firefight, protecting Era as they fled through crystal caves. He saw Earth ships in orbit around Lyria, weapons active. He saw himself standing before the Liriani Council, accusing them of conspiracy. He pulled away, gasping. That's not the future, just possibilities. Era's eyes, those strange pupil-less orbs, seemed to look through him. One path among many. Why would I ever stand against the Council? Because 6 Council members, led by Elder Vox, plan to use my abilities to predict Earth's military movements. They want to strike first, claiming your people will eventually turn on us. Tai-Ho frowned. That makes no sense. Earth has no reason to. Fear doesn't need reasons, Commander. My people fear what they don't understand. Your closed minds make humans unpredictable to us. A sound outside made them both freeze. Era pulled Tai-Ho behind a column as 2 Liriani guards passed by the entrance. They're looking for me, she whispered. I wasn't supposed to leave my quarters. When the guards moved on, Tai-Ho made a decision. If I help you, we need proof of this conspiracy to take to your father and the other council members. Relief washed across Era's features in waves of blue light. I know where to start. Elder Vox keeps records of their meetings in his private chambers. For the next 10 days, Tai-Ho lived a double life. By day, he attended diplomatic functions, toured Liriani technology centers, and reported normal progress to Earth Command. By night, he met Era in secret locations, teaching her basic human combat techniques, while she taught him to navigate Liriani society. Humans fight so, physically. Era commented one night after Tai-Ho showed her how to break a hold. As opposed to, my people fight with minds, with influence and emotion. She demonstrated by projecting a wave of fear toward him, which he felt as a cold shiver despite knowing it wasn't real. That's why I need to teach you this, he explained. They won't expect physical resistance from you. As they trained, Taiho learned more about Era. Her gift had manifested when she was a child. At first, it was just glimpses, a dropped cup before it fell, a visitor before they arrived. As she grew, so did her abilities, until she could see entire branching pathways of possibility. "Can you see your own future?" he asked her once. "Not clearly. The more personally involved I am, the harder it becomes to see." She paused. "Except with you. When you're part of the future I see, it becomes sharper, more defined." "Why?" "I don't know. Perhaps because your mind works differently." On the 12th night, they made their move. Using access codes Era had memorized from her father's records, they entered the government complex while most Liriani were participating in a lunar celebration. "Elder Vox's chambers are this way," Era whispered, leading Taiho down a crystalline corridor. They found the evidence they sought, recorded meetings discussing the use of Era's abilities to predict human military weaknesses, plans for a preemptive strike against Earth outposts. "This is worse than I thought," Taiho murmured, copying the files to a data crystal. That's when the alarm sounded. "They know we're here." Era's skin paled to white. "We need to leave now." They ran through the corridors, but at each turn, guards appeared. Taiho used his combat training to disable 2 guards without killing them, surprising the Liriani with his physical attacks. As they neared an exit, Elder Vox himself appeared with 4 armed guards. "Princess Era," he said coldly, "you disappoint your people by consorting with this human." "You disappoint our people by plotting war," she replied. Vox's skin turned deep red. "Take them. Kill the human if you must. But bring her alive." The guards advanced. Taiho pushed Era behind him, ready to fight, when she suddenly grabbed his arm. "Close your eyes," she commanded. He did, just as Era released a burst of blinding light from her skin, a defense mechanism Taiho didn't know Liriani possessed. When he opened his eyes, the guards were disoriented, stumbling blindly. They escaped into the night, but both knew there was no going back. What began as a reluctant agreement had become a commitment. Taiho was now truly her guardian, and all of Lyria would soon be hunting them. "What now?" Era asked as they hid in an abandoned building on the city's edge. Taiho's jaw set in determination. "Now we find a way to contact my ship without being detected. We need to get this evidence to people who can help, both human and Liriani." Era's hand found his in the darkness. "I saw many possible paths, Taiho. In the ones where we succeed, we never stand alone." The diplomatic shuttle shuddered as it broke through Lyria's upper atmosphere. In the pilot's seat, Taiho gripped the controls tightly, his knuckles white. The ship wasn't designed for combat maneuvers, but right now, he was pushing it to its limits. "They're still behind us," Era said from the co-pilot's chair. Her skin flickered between anxious purple and determined blue as she studied the scanner. 3 pursuit vessels, closing fast. Taiho nodded grimly. "We just need to reach the jump point. If we can make it to the wormhole relay, we can send a message to my ship." The small shuttle had been their only option for escape. After the confrontation with Elder Vox, they'd fled to the diplomatic landing pad where Taiho had authority to access Earth vehicles. Now they were fugitives, he from both Earth and Lyria, she from her own people. A blast rocked the shuttle, sending warning lights flashing across the control panel. "Shield down to 60%, Taiho muttered. "They're not trying to destroy us. They want to disable the ship. They want me alive," Era said quietly. They have no such orders for." Taiho didn't respond to that. Instead, he yanked the controls hard, sending the shuttle into a spinning dive that no diplomatic vessel was ever meant to perform. The pursuing ships, larger and less agile, couldn't match the maneuver quickly enough. "That bought us some time," he said. "The jump point is 2 minutes ahead." Era's hands moved over the communications panel. "I'm preparing the data packet with the evidence. Once we reach the relay, we can send it to both your commander and my father." She paused. "If he'll even listen now." "He's your father. He'll listen." Another blast hit them, stronger this time. The shuttle lurched, and the engine made a sound that Tae-ho definitely didn't like. "Change of plans," he said, studying the scanner. "We can't outrun them to the jump point. We need to hide." He pointed to a small moon orbiting one of Lyria's sister planets. "There, the scanner shows crystal formations similar to the forests near your capital. Maybe we can lose them there." The moon, known as Nira to the Lyriani, was considered sacred ground, a place of exile for those who chose solitude or were banished from society. As the shuttle descended through wisps of thin atmosphere, massive crystal formations came into view, glittering under the light of distant suns. "The quiet ones live here," Era said softly. "Lyriani who reject the collective telepathic connections of our society. Will they help us? I don't know. They're outcasts by choice, seeking silence from the constant thoughts of others." Tae-ho guided the shuttle into a narrow canyon between towering crystal spires, setting down in a clearing hidden from orbital scanners. The engines gave one final whine before shutting down completely. "We're not taking off again without repairs," he said, gathering emergency supplies. "Let's hope your quiet ones are friendly." They emerged into Nira's strange beauty. The air was thin but breathable. The crystals surrounding them hummed with a faint resonance that Tae-ho could feel in his bones. "This way," Era said suddenly, her head tilted as if listening. "I sense something." They walked for an hour before seeing the first signs of habitation, small dwellings built into the crystal formations, nearly invisible until you were right upon them. Then figures emerged, Lyriani with skin that barely glowed, moving silently among the crystals. An elder stepped forward, his skin a muted gray. "You bring trouble to our sanctuary, Princess Era." She bowed deeply. "We seek refuge, Elderkin, just long enough to repair our ship." "The hunters will come," he stated simply. "Yes," Tae-ho admitted, "but we have information that could prevent a war. We need to reach my people." The elder studied Tae-ho for a long moment. "A human. We have not seen your kind before. Your mind is quiet, different." He turned to his people and made a simple gesture. "You may stay, for now." That night, as they sat in a small crystal dwelling, Era explained more to Tae-ho. "The quiet ones left mainstream society generations ago. They found our constant telepathic connections overwhelming. Like living in a room where everyone is shouting all the time," Tae-ho suggested. "Yes, here, they speak mind to mind only by choice, not by nature." Tae-ho worked on the data crystal containing their evidence. "I think I can build a small transmitter from the shuttle parts. Not powerful enough to reach my ship, but maybe enough to reach the jump point relay." Era watched him work. "Elder Vox will have alerted your commanders. They may believe we're traitors. Possibly. That's why we need to get the full evidence to them." 3 days passed as they worked on the transmitter and repaired what they could of the shuttle. The quiet ones kept their distance but provided food and materials. Tae-ho learned that many of them were scientists and artists who had chosen this exile to pursue knowledge without the constant invasion of others' thoughts. On the 4th day, Elderkin appeared at their dwelling. "Ships orbit our moon. They search for you." Tae-ho and Era exchanged looks. The transmitter wasn't ready. "How many?" Tae-ho asked. 3 Lyriani vessels, and 1 bearing Earth markings. Tae-ho's heart sank. "My ship. They're either looking to rescue us or capture us, and I don't know which." That night, as they finished the transmitter, a distant explosion lit up the sky. From their vantage point high in the crystal forest, they could see Lyriani ships firing on something. "They're attacking your Earth ship," Era gasped. Before Tae-ho could respond, Era's eyes went wide. Her skin flashed bright white, and she fell to her knees. "Era." He rushed to her side. "I see it," she whispered, Her eyes had gone completely luminous. The paths are converging. If your people fight back now, war becomes inevitable. She gripped his hands tightly. I have to stop this. Without warning, Era stood and raised her arms toward the sky. Her entire body began to glow with an intensity Taeho had never seen before. The crystals around them resonated in response, amplifying whatever she was doing. A pulse of energy shot upward from her body, expanding outward in a visible ripple that spread toward the battling ships. Taeho watched in awe as both the Liriani and Earth vessels suddenly stopped firing. Then Era collapsed in his arms, her skin dim and cool. What did you do? He asked softly. Showed them the future, all futures, if they continue this path. Her voice was weak. They will come for us now. Both sides. They've seen what I can do. As if confirming her words, the transmitter suddenly came to life with signals from both fleets. The hunt had taken a new turn, and now both Earth and Lyria knew the full extent of Era's powers. The dimly lit cave within the crystal forest hummed with energy as Taeho paced back and forth. It had been 3 days since Era's dramatic display of power, and the Quiet Ones had moved them deeper into hiding. Both Earth and Liriani ships now patrolled the moon's surface, searching for them. They're afraid of what I did, Era said softly. Her skin had regained some of its glow, but she still looked weaker than before. Both your people and mine. Taeho stopped pacing and sat beside her. They should be. You showed them futures they weren't ready to see, but not ready enough to stop looking for us. She sighed. The paths ahead are clouded. I can't see clearly what we should do next. Taeho was quiet for a moment, thinking. Then he smiled suddenly. Maybe that's our advantage. What do you mean? Your people rely on predicting outcomes, on reading thoughts and intentions. But humans, he tapped his temple. We're unpredictable. You've said it yourself. Our minds work differently. Era's skin brightened with interest. Go on. What if, instead of running and hiding, we went back? Back to the capital, where they'd least expect us to go. That would be. Era paused, searching for the word. Crazy, Taeho finished for her. Exactly. And that's why it might work. Your conspirators will be busy protecting themselves now that we've exposed them. They'll expect logical moves from us. Elder Kin entered the cave, carrying a communication device. Your Earth ship is broadcasting again. They request to speak with you, Commander. Taeho took the device cautiously. This could be a trap, or it could be the help we need, Era countered. Making his decision, Taeho activated the communicator. This is Commander Park. Commander, this is Lieutenant Han, came the reply. Captain Yoon wants you to know we received your data packet. We know about the conspiracy. Relief washed over Taeho's face. The captain believes us. Yes, sir. We've been negotiating with Elder Saul. He wants to speak with his daughter. Era's eyes widened. She took the communicator with trembling hands. Father. Era. Elder Saul's voice was strained but warm. You are safe. Yes, Father. Commander Park has protected me. The evidence you sent has caused great upheaval. Elder Vox and his followers control most of the security forces, but not all. They claim you have been corrupted by human influence. Taeho and Era exchanged glances. This was both better and worse than they had feared. We need to end this, Taeho said firmly, before Vox can rally more support or attack Earth ships again. I agree, Elder Saul replied. But how? Vox has sealed the council chamber. The Festival of Lights begins tomorrow, and he plans to address all of Lyria, spreading his lies. Taeho's eyes lit up. The festival. That's perfect. Over the next hours, they formed a plan. The Earth ship would create a distraction in orbit. Elder Saul would rally loyal Liriani, and Taeho and Ara would return to the capital during the festival, when the crowds and celebrations would make it easier to move undetected. What about Vox's telepaths? Era asked. They'll sense us coming. Not if we use the human advantage, Taiho replied with a smile. Lieutenant Han, can you send a shuttle with 5 of my security team? The ones with the strongest mental training. Yes, Commander. What are you planning? Something unpredictable. The day of the festival arrived. The capital city of Lyria was transformed with lights and crystalline decorations. Elder Vox had announced a special address to calm fears about human aggression. But Era knew it would be filled with lies to turn her people against Earth. Taiho, Era, and 5 human security officers moved through the crowded streets. Each human projected different thoughts, creating mental noise that confused the Lyriani telepaths. Taiho had explained it as thinking about blue elephants while doing math problems, nonsensical patterns that masked their true intentions. It's working, Era whispered, her skin carefully dimmed to avoid recognition. The telepaths sense humans, but they can't focus on our location. They reached the Grand Plaza where Elder Vox would speak. Thousands of Lyriani gathered, their skin creating a sea of shifting colors. At the center stood a crystal platform where the council would appear. All these people, one of the human officers murmured. How will we ever get through? Taiho pointed to a service tunnel that leads underneath the platform. Your team creates diversions at each corner of the plaza. Lieutenant Min, set off the light disruptors when I give the signal. As Elder Vox and his supporters took the platform, Taiho and Era slipped into the tunnel. Above them, they could hear Vox beginning his speech, his voice amplified across the plaza. These humans who pretend friendship while plotting to exploit our gifts. Taiho checked his small device. The Earth ship is in position. Your father's supporters are ready. Now we just need tow. Footsteps in the tunnel made them freeze. 2 guards approached, weapons ready. Now, Taiho whispered into his communicator. Suddenly, brilliant flashes of light burst from different points in the plaza. The Earth ship launched harmless but spectacular light displays in the sky. The crowd's attention scattered, and in the confusion, Taiho disabled the guards with quick strikes. Physical attacks the Lyriani weren't prepared for. They reached the access panel beneath the platform. Taiho helped Ara climb through, then followed. They emerged behind Elder Vox as he struggled to maintain control of the confused crowd. Do not be distracted by these human tricks, he was shouting. They are not tricks, Elder Vox, Era said, her voice clear and strong. They are demonstrations of how differently we think and how well we can work together. The crowd fell silent as they recognized her. Vox turned, his skin dark with rage. Princess Era arrives with her human pet to spread more lies, he snarled. Taiho stepped forward, playing the data crystal that contained the evidence on the plaza's main display system. The only lies are yours, Elder. The people will see the truth today. As the recordings played, showing Vox's plans for war, the crowd's collective skin shifted from confused yellows to angry reds. Elder Saul and his loyal guards moved through the crowd toward the platform. This is human deception, Vox shouted desperately. No, Era replied, her skin glowing bright and true. This is human unpredictability combined with Lyriani truth. She raised her hands, and her skin began to pulse. I will show everyone what I showed the ships above Nura. The possible futures, both of war and peace. The light from her body expanded, connecting with the crystals throughout the plaza. And as Taiho stood protectively beside her, the truth spread across the capital like a wave of light that could no longer be contained. The great hall of the Lyriani High Council glowed with ceremonial lights. Every surface reflected the soft illumination, creating an atmosphere that felt both solemn and celebratory. Taiho stood tall in his formal Earth uniform, freshly pressed for the occasion, though the events of the past weeks had left their mark on him in subtle ways. A new scar along his jawline, a more watchful look in his eyes. Beside him stood Ara, her skin shimmering with a confident gold that matched the ceremonial robes she wore. Gone was the frightened princess who had begged for his protection. In her place stood a powerful diplomat who had faced down corruption and emerged stronger. "The council will now hear the final judgments," announced Elder Saul, Era's father, who had taken temporary leadership after Elder Vox's arrest. His voice echoed through the crystal chamber. The evidence Taiho and Ara had gathered had proven devastating. 6 council members now stood in restraints, their skin dull with shame as the charges were read aloud. Conspiracy, attempted murder, and plotting war against Earth. "For these crimes against both our peoples, you are stripped of rank and authority," Elder Saul declared. "You will be exiled to the outer moons, where you may contemplate the harmony you sought to destroy." As the convicted conspirators were led away, Taiho caught Elder Vox's gaze. The fallen leader's eyes held no remorse, only cold calculation, as if still measuring odds, still seeing potential futures where he might prevail. Taiho met his stare steadily until the guards removed him from the chamber. Admiral Chen of the Earth Fleet stepped forward next. "Earth recognizes the actions of these individuals do not represent the Liriani people as a whole. We remain committed to peace between our worlds." The formal part of the ceremony continued as Elder Saul addressed the gathered assembly. "Today marks not an ending, but a beginning. The conspiracy sought to use my daughter's gifts as a weapon. Instead, she has shown us they can be a bridge." Taiho remembered the moment on the bridge of the Earth flagship when Era had demonstrated her abilities to both Earth and Liriani leaders. She had connected their minds, showing them glimpses of possible futures, both the devastating paths of war and the prosperous ones of alliance. In that moment, with Taiho standing protectively at her side, she had transformed from fugitive to peacemaker. Therefore, Elder Saul continued, "The Council appoints Princess Era as Lyria's first ambassador to Earth, with the mission of building lasting cooperation between our worlds." Applause filled the chamber, the Liriani expressing approval through both sound and pulses of light from their skin. When the noise subsided, Admiral Chen spoke again. "And Earth formally requests that Commander Taiho Park be assigned as head of security for the ambassador's mission, in recognition of his unique understanding of both our peoples." Taiho tried to keep his expression professional, but he couldn't help the slight smile that formed. It was the outcome he had hoped for, but hadn't dared expect. His career wouldn't end in disgrace for abandoning his post. Instead, he was being given a new mission, one that felt more important than any he'd undertaken before. Later, as the formal ceremonies ended and the celebration began, Taiho found a quiet moment with Era on a balcony overlooking the Crystal City. "Ambassador," he said with a slight bow that held a hint of teasing. "Quite a promotion from fugitive." Era's skin rippled with amusement. "And you, Commander. From reluctant guardian to official protector, the universe has strange paths indeed. Do you still see them?" "The paths?" Taiho asked quietly. She nodded. "Always, but they're different now. Clearer when you're near." She turned to face the twin moons rising on the horizon. "I've been studying why humans and Liriani complement each other so well. Your minds are close to our telepathy, making you unpredictable to us. Our ability to sense emotions and possibilities gives us insights you lack. Together, we fill each other's blind spots," Taiho suggested. "Exactly." Her hand found his on the railing, cool fingers resting lightly against his warm skin. The conspirators saw this as a threat. They feared what they couldn't predict or control. "And you see it as potential." Her skin glowed brighter. "On Earth, I'll be experiencing everything new, learning to see through human eyes while helping humans understand Liriani perspectives." The celebration behind them swelled with music. Taiho thought about the journey ahead. Helping Era navigate Earth culture would certainly be interesting. He had a feeling he'd be learning as much as she would. "There will be challenges," he said. "Not everyone on Earth will welcome a telepathic ambassador." "That's why I need you," she replied simply. "Not just as a guardian against physical threats, but as a guide. Someone who understands both worlds." A shooting star traced across the sky above them, and Era's skin pulsed in response, a ripple of wonder that Taiho found himself sharing. "What do you see now?" he asked. "In our future." She turned to him, her eyes reflecting the starlight. "Many paths still, but the brightest ones we walk together." She smiled. "For someone who resisted becoming my guardian so strongly, you seem content with the permanent position." Tai-Ho laughed. "Let's just say my definition of duty has expanded." He looked out at the city below, then up at the stars above. Stars that now represented not just unknown territory, but new possibilities. Earth has an old saying, "The best teams are greater than the sum of their parts." "We Liriani have a similar belief," Era said softly. "Some lights shine brightest when they shine together." As the celebration continued into the night, the foundations of the new alliance took shape, built not just on diplomatic agreements and shared interests, but on the understanding that had grown between one human and one Liriani, who had been forced to trust each other when all other paths were closed.